So our goal here is to make sure that the data doesn't show up until the image has also loaded. And so what that means is we actually want to have this image suspend as well. So we want to take the source and suspend it until that image has been preloaded into the cache. And so here's what we're going to do is I'm going to make an image component that can itself suspend. So this is going to take a source and an alt and all the rest of the props, and we're going to just render an image with the source and alt and all the rest of those props. And so now we're just wrapping the regular image. So we just did a regular refactor, nothing actually changed here. So the next step here is actually making this image component suspend when that image hasn't actually been preloaded yet. So let's go ahead and make a asynchronous function that we can use for this suspense resource. So I'm going to have a preload image with a source, and then this is going to return a new promise. That'll take a resolve function here, and we're going to make an image with document create element image, and then we'll set the image source to that source. And then with the image on load event, we'll resolve with that source. And so now we can create resources with this preload image. But it's really important that you don't create resources anew every single time you render. So I'm going to make a little cache object here with image source resource cache. That'll be an object. And then in here, I can make an image source resource with image source resource cache. We'll grab that for this particular source. And then if we don't have an image source resource, then let's go ahead and assign it here with create resource. And we'll pass it a promise that we get back from preload image with that source. And then we'll set the image source resource cache at that source to our image source resource. All right, awesome. And then we can assign the source here to image source resource.read. So let's just follow through what's going on here. When this image is rendered, it's going to check this cache right here at that source. And if we don't have a resource there, then we're going to create one with this preload image, which is going to return a promise that will resolve when the image loads. And once it's loaded, we know it's in the browser cache. Not our cache, but the browser cache. So we've got a couple of caches going on here. Just keep in mind that the browser keeps a cache for the images at a particular source, and then we're keeping a cache ourselves so that we can make sure we suspend this image component until we know that this particular image is in the browser cache. And once it's in the browser cache, then we can safely render this image, and we know that the browser will render that image instantly because it's in the browser cache. So let's go ahead and try this out. I'm going to open my DevTools. We'll move this down just a little bit, and I'm going to do a hard reload, empty cache, hard reload. We'll change this to a slow 3G network connection, and then we'll click on Pikachu. We'll notice that loads in right away, and we're waiting for the data and the image, and they both appear together. Then we go to Charizard. We're getting that pending state. We're waiting for the data and the image, and boom, there they both come in together. Then we go to Mew. We're waiting for both of those, and they both come in together. So things are looking way better now. And the way that we accomplish this is we made it so that this image component will also suspend, which means that even when the data comes in, React is going to keep this fallback around until all of the children of this Pokemon info have stopped suspending. The way we accomplish this is we made an image component that resembles the regular image component that we have just regularly in the browser. And we grab a resource from the cache for that source. If it doesn't exist, then we'll create one. And when we call read, that will suspend this component until this onload event happens, at which time we know the image at that source is now in the browser cache, and so we're safe to re-render, and the browser can show the image instantly, leading to a less confusing user experience.